I think this is all. Sure. Once again, welcome. Oh, that's great. Welcome this evening. It is 6 o'clock, and we'd like to call this meeting to order. Um, Ms. Rigsby, could you establish a quorum through a roll call vote, please?
Yes, sir. President Hodge,
Present.
Vice President Humphrey,
Present.
Secretary Taylor,
Present.
Director Edwards,
Present.
no Director Pearson, Director Milton Roberts,
Present.
Director Dr. Petty, no Petty.
Thank you so much. We do have a quorum. If you are able and willing, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We appreciate you being here this evening. It's a little cool, but I'm glad that everybody made it out. It is well worth it. What we will do was we'll move to item 2.01, which is board operations. We typically start out with our board norms. We take them seriously, and so we always remind ourselves of the norms that we've agreed to. And so I'm going to ask Secretary Taylor to read our board norms.
Thank you, President. What'd you do to my mic? We use facts and data to inform our decisions in accordance with the interests of the overall district as a whole and not any particular segment thereof. We support the delegation of authority of the superintendent in the day-to-day district operations and act in accordance with the six governing documents such as the policy, CSIP agenda, etc. We support the board decisions. We come to the board meetings informed and prepared. We honor our elected role by being in attendance, and we honor all voices by encouraging individual input and listening to others.
Thank you so much, Secretary Taylor. Secretary Rigsby, could you please also note that Dr. Petty is now with us? Thank you so much. We will move to item 3.01, which is the approval of of tonight's agenda. You all have been provided with that agenda. If there are no moderate, did we have a? I think we discussed something. So, is there a movement to make an amendment to the agenda? You have the floor, and if you could do that on the mic, that would be great.
Thank you, President Hodge. There is a motion to amend the agenda for items 8.03, just 8.03. Um, being that we had a conversation at our work session and established a policy committee, therefore, I would like to table that um item till after we have established the policy committee.
Okay, so there's a motion to table item 8.03, which is a consent item for a policy JGR1, and it is being tabled because there's further information to be gathered about that policy.
That's
Is
correct.
that correct? And so we'll get additional input, and we'll tabling that until next month's meeting. It does need a date
Yeah, we're gonna table it to the next month's
to
meeting.
March's meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, so let the motion state that item 8.03 policy JGR1 will be tabled until the March general meeting.
yes, sir.
That's the motion. So, is there a second? It has been seconded. Is there any discussion, questions related to that motion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. With that amendment to the agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
It has been proved and seconded. Are there no comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. The ayes have it. At this point, we will move to item 4.01, which is public comments. We do have public comments tonight, and so I'm going to ask Norm Campbell to give us a few guidelines on how we conduct our public comments.
Good evening, Board President, members of the board, superintendent, and ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank you for attending tonight's Normandy Schools Collaborative Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, we will review the importance of conducting a productive and orderly meeting. For those community members in attendance who have signed up for public comments, please come to the podium when the board president calls your name. Out of respect for everyone in attendance, yelling, foul language, props, visuals, and addressing the audience are not permitted. Public speakers may not identify staff or students by name. In addition, audience members are not allowed to speak, yell, or cause any disruption during public comments. This ensures the Board of Education is able to listen and transition to the next speaker. The remainder of the meeting is designated for the board to work with the superintendent and staff to conduct the work as outlined in the agenda. Patrons who stay in attendance for the remainder of the meeting after public comments do so in an observatory role. Please note that those who disrupt the meeting in any capacity will be asked to leave and may lose the opportunity to attend future meetings. We'd like to thank you again for attending tonight's meeting, and now we will proceed with the agenda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell. We do have one public comment tonight coming from alumni, president of Normandy Schools Collaborative Alumni Association, good friend of ours, 2024 candidate for this Joint Executive Governing Board, Miss Jacqueline Buck Horton. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, board members,
Good evening.
Dr. Triplett, our superintendent, the secretary. Thanks for getting me on the agenda and all the work that you do, as well as the Chris over here for making sure that we are able to see the board meetings when we are not present. I appreciate that. I'm here today to help you understand and to give you some additional information on Beyond Housing. I know today is not on the agenda to vote on it, but perhaps I believe in March it will be an agenda item. I'm hoping. So I want to go ahead and thank you guys for having me on this agenda. As you know, I am an alumni of Normandy. I'm also a member of the Alumni Association. The president of the association is back there, Nakia Watts. Our vice president of the association is over here, Anthony Clark, as well as a couple of members of the Alumni Association are in attendance. So I want to thank you guys for supporting the school district for being here today. I was born in, I wasn't born here in the district, but I was actually raised here in the district. If you don't know, Beyond Housing used to be Garfield School. And that's where I actually grew up, in Garfield School. When I found out that Garfield was being renovated, I was so excited because it was a very dilapidated eyesore in our community. Beyond Housing came in and not only renovated it, they restored it. As a matter of fact, Chris Kremeyer's office is my third grade class. So it was really emotional to me to see the progress and to see what they were doing there. I even had the opportunity to be the alumni speaker during the groundbreaking ceremony of Beyond Housing. And of course, that really meant so much to me. And it really meant a lot to me to know that what Beyond Housing was going to be doing in that facility. The 24/1 initiative, that brand, I just thought it was so clever. 24 municipalities and one school district, the school district that belonged to me, Normandy. It also brought 24 municipal leaders together to sit down and talk about things that needed to be done in our community, to collaborate as one. That has never happened in our district.
Miss Buckhart, you have 30 more seconds.
Okay, okay. I might go over a little bit, but that has never been done in our community. So I plead you guys to provide the support, or Beyond Housing is providing the support that we need in our community. Beyond Housing so far has given over $20 million to support the school. They have a Viking Advantage program, a back to school backpack program, mentoring, high school enrichment programs, mental health services, and of course the failed
Miss
liaisons.
Buckhorton, it looks like you've run out of time.
Okay.
Um, but I think we started tech problems. We got about 10 seconds more here.
Okay, well, I'll get my 10 seconds then. Um, I would just like to say that Beyond Housing has really enhanced the quality in which our students are able to come to school, our babies, by providing them with the information that they need, the products that they need to come to school with. With the back to school backpack program, of course, they have everything they need for at least 6 months. Um,
Thank you.
approving
Thank you so much. We've given you the alumni bonus time too, but we're going to
Okay,
have to
well, can
stop
I
right
leave
there.
you with this question then? And I thank you guys so much. But I leave you with the question of, if Beyond Housing does not support this school district, then who will? Who are we going to bring in? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to answer that?
We wish we could. One of the things that we do is we do not have comments after the public comments. We appreciate your words and we appreciate the encouragement. And I would like to say thank you to our Alumni Association for being here tonight. Can we have those members of the Alumni Association please stand? And if we would give them a round of applause, that would be great. Thank you so much. Do I have any power as the board president to give people an opportunity to get to the mic? Is that if the president has executive power to do some stuff, I can at least ask them. President of the Alumni Association. Can I give the board president, I mean the Alumni Association president, an opportunity to address the board and the community? I move to have the
Is
The,
it a motion?
yes, I have a motion to give the president of the Normandy School Alumni Association 1 minute to address the board. Is there a second?
So,
Yeah, that sounds like there's a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, you have the same privilege. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. You do have 1 minute.
Okay, well, thank you. I didn't know I was going to speak tonight, but that's okay. So, for those that don't know me, my name is Dr. Nakia Watts Edwards, and I graduated from Normandy High School in 1994. And I am a huge advocate for this school district. For those that don't know, I'm going to use this time to kind of promote our Alumni Wednesday. So, every other Wednesday, we are at the high school promoting our scholarships, hanging out with our students, and just kind of talking to them about anything that they want to talk about. Sometimes the students come to us and may have a problem in the classroom, may have an issue with homework. So we're here to support our students and the staff. We have staff that come up to us and we support them as well. Our administrators, everybody, anyone that's in that building, we're there to support them during the lunch hours. So if any of you all have any times on Wednesdays, feel free to come up and join us. We have a good time. If ever we have enough alumni to come up there and support us, we'll play games with our students just to kind of, keep their minds off of wanting to do something that they shouldn't be doing at the high school. Um, but overall, I just wanted to use my time to thank the board and encourage the board, but to listen to Beyond Housing when they are on the agenda. I believe Ms. Buck said in March, because I think those programs are much needed beyond backpack. I volunteer for Beyond Backpack. I also know quite a few students that take advantage of the Viking Advantage. My nephew, who's a student, well, who was a student, he graduated in 2016, I believe. He's a teacher there now. He took advantage of the Viking Advantage program.
5 seconds.
Went to Harris Stowe State College. So keep an open mind. Viking strong.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that, President Watts. The Alumni Association does so much for our district, and many of the times we don't see the work that they're doing, but they are at our high school where they are deeply needed every week, serving our students in any way that they can. So thank you for that. We will move forward with item 5.01, public recognitions. We are really excited about this tonight. Mr. Trahan is going to set us up for that.
Good evening, Board President Hodge, Superintendent, members of the board. We've got some recognitions tonight, so let's get started. We want to recognize Young Voices in Action, which is a partner of Normandy's. They announced the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Essay Contest winners. These winners are part of the annual Mid-St. Louis County activities, which were honoring Dr. Martin Luther King, which was held last month. 3 Normandy High School students, Mame Nadia, Isabella Meyer, and Edgar Starr received awards and cash prizes. In January 1963, Time magazine named Dr. King Man of the Year for 1963, in January 1964 for 1963, making him the first African American honor recipient. The winning essays answered the question, what does it take to be Person of the Year? I don't know if the students are here. If they are not, then we will go ahead and give the certificates to the principal and the school.
Beautiful. We had an opportunity to celebrate with them at that event. I got my pictures with the awardees, and I believe that our NEA president actually represented with them and worked with them on those speeches. And so we're really excited about that presentation.
So at this time, we want to invite Makira Payton to come up front, please. Makira is a high school senior. She proudly represented the district by placing first and taking home the gold medal at the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America Culinary Arts STAR event, which was held last month. This win qualifies her to compete in the state leadership event next month. This marks the 3rd consecutive year that a Normandy student has brought home gold in this competition.
Yes, we are super excited. And presenting that award is previous winner and board representative, Miss Alex Belton. Don't stay right there because we're coming to take lots of pictures with you. This is a legacy in Normandy. Our culinary arts program has been winning awards for a very long time, putting our school district on the map. So let's give it up for both of them one more time. it should also be said that Miss Payton is the first of an internship program that was established by Elicious' owner, Johnny Little in Ferguson, who reached out to Normandy and said, I want to take an intern for our business that will learn everything that they can and really move culinary arts into his business and take it even further. He wanted someone to invest in, and our culinary arts program selected Miss Payton to do that. So anytime you go to Elicious, you'll not only be supporting a great business, getting great food, but you'll also be supporting the Normandy Schools Collaborative and our culinary arts program, and you'll be served by one of your own. So let's give it up for Miss Payton again.
And at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Tiffany McConnell to come up and talk a little bit more about the next recognitions that we have.
All right. Good evening to the board, Superintendent Dr. Triplett. My name is Tiffany McConnell, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. And this evening, I'm thrilled to share some truly exciting news about 3 of our schools that have received recognition for their outstanding achievements. These schools have been honored by St. Louis University's Policy Research in Missouri Education, PRIME Center, for their exceptional performance in mathematics and English language arts on state assessments. The PRIME Center, a respected nonpartisan research institution, operates within the SLU School of Education, where it provides invaluable insights into educational advancements throughout Missouri. The findings are based on data from the Missouri Assessment Program, MAP, which highlights the academic progress of students in various subjects. What makes these achievements even more remarkable is that this recognition comes in the context of extraordinary success in advancing student outcomes, particularly among students from high poverty backgrounds. This is a testament to the unwavering commitment of these schools, and it reflects the district's broader dedication to overcoming challenges and ensuring equitable academic growth for all students. First, we want to recognize Washington Elementary for its remarkable achievements in both mathematics and English language arts on the state assessments. Washington received 2 prestigious awards. Yes. Beating the odds for English language arts growth for the 2022-2023 school year and beating the odds for mathematics growth for the 2023-2024 school year. Washington Elementary also ranked 9th in statewide mathematics growth for all students, an incredible accomplishment.
Yes.
Next, we celebrate Belnor Elementary. While Belnor Elementary did not necessarily rank in the top positions, they have certainly made an impressive impact by beating the odds for mathematics growth in the 2023-2024 school year. Lastly, we proudly honor Lucas Crossing, which has received 2 awards, beating the odds for English language arts growth for the 2022-2023 school year and beating the odds for mathematics growth for the 2023-2024 school year. Each of these schools has demonstrated a tremendous commitment to academic excellence, and this recognition is a direct reflection of the hard work, dedication, and passion of their teachers, their staff, and students. So on behalf of the Normandy Schools Collaborative, I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of these schools on their well-deserved recognition. At this time, each of the leaders of Belnor, which we have Principal West, Washington Elementary, Principal Dr. Hollins, and Normandy Middle School, Principal Sutton, will receive a certificate of recognition if they could come out at this time. You're good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Chris, does that conclude our recognitions for this evening? Wonderful. Thank you. Can we give it up again for academic achievement in the Normandy Schools Collaborative? Thank you. Great. We want to move on to item 6, which is items for information. We've had a request to get an update or review on our transition to Cigna healthcare insurance and an update. Um, so Mr. Brooks is going to set us up for that, right?
Going to set us up for that. Good evening again, Joint Executive Governing Board and Dr. Triplett and Normandy Schools community. Great to see you all. It's always wonderful to be able to celebrate our achievements, to hear how our schools are accomplishing some of the great goals that we've set out this year. This time, you all have asked for our healthcare coverage company, Cigna, to come forward and our brokers to respond to any questions that you have about the Cigna programming. So we have in the audience, we have our brokers, we have Richard Gaines and Rick Gary. We have Ann Brady and Justin are here from Cigna. We have Andrea Turner, our coordinator of benefits. Of course, we have our HR basically our lead person here, Kawana Gilliard, Miss Gilliard, in the audience or really at the table as well. And so they're going to come, a couple of them are going to come forward at this time to address any questions that you may have with regard to the programming. We also have, and we've been meeting also or communicating with Nigel Word, who is the president of the NEA as well. So at this time, without further ado, I'm going to ask, let's have the brokers come forward at this time.
If there are any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. We were the leadership somewhat um, with district personnel as it related to choosing Cigna as the healthcare carrier. Um, and we obviously we experienced some problems from the beginning, but we've been meeting regularly, and we are of the opinion that most of those areas have been addressed at this point. If there are questions, we're more than happy to respond.
Thank you so much for being with us this evening. We appreciate the preparation. We did receive the information that you provided. We appreciate the way that it was presented. We had some expectations for how we wanted to see that comparison, and so we will entertain any questions at this time from the board.
Thanks for being here.
Dr. Petty.
Thank you for being here.
Any other questions?
I'm just going to ask kind of a generic question. I know that you said at the beginning you had some challenges, and so it sounds like those have gone down. Have we addressed everything, or are there any outstanding things that we need to take a look at?
From our standpoint, we had a debriefing as late as this afternoon with Mr. Word of the NEA to address any concerns. Your chair had asked us at the last meeting to make sure that we communicated with NEA and that NEA was aware of what we were doing, how things were being done, what Cigna's involvement had been in terms of reaching reaching the goals that we had all set in terms of having as a comprehensive an understanding and involvement with your staff as possible. We are of the belief that although there may be one or two challenges remaining, those challenges are known. They are a normal process of changing from one carrier to another. We had a little bit more than a normal process at the beginning, but we think we're confident at this point that we've gotten to the bottom of that. Um, And we do have representatives from Cigna here who has been meeting regularly with Ms. Turner and and Carlton Brooks to address these issues.
If we may, I'd like to. I think just as a point of order, I appreciate you pointing that out because I wanted to hear from Nigel Ward, who is our representative, and this may spawn the questions that we have at this point. So if we're in agreement, Mr. Ward, Ward, can you please come forward? And we've got one simple question we'd like to ask or just bring up. How does the NEA feel about where we are, and do you have any concerns at this point that need to be addressed?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The NEA has been working with Andrea Turner and Ms. Gilliard, and whatever concerns we had, we did present it to her office. For example, I had an issue. My issue has been resolved. There have been several others issues that are resolved. I do know as of today, when we had a meeting, there was one outstanding issue. So I know they're still working on that particular issue, and they are continuing to work on any issues that come to Mrs. Turner through her office. So their office has been working with us regarding our members having concerns with their insurance.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ms. Edwards.
Thank you so much, President Hodge. Thank you, Mr. Word, for stepping up. I do have a question. I'm not quite sure who may be able to answer this, but will there be any follow-up meetings or surveys or assessments for the staff with plans after the implementation has already? My question's kind of old, so I apologize. But since we already implemented, is there any plans to have any surveys or assessments done to?
As of this afternoon, uh, the NEA was offered an opportunity to meet with staff and to meet with a special committee that oversees your health insurance program. And they have, without question, well, we're waiting for them to respond, but we will have the carrier and obviously your staff available to address questions as they arise, not just for what we started with, but during the course of the year, as additional questions arise and opportunities make themselves available.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Additional questions? Thank you so much. The collaboration is the key. We thank you so much for working with NEA and ironing out all of those details. I know I feel a lot better about this transition. Ms. Edwards has another question. Do you have something to share?
So thank you so much for allowing us to join today. So basically what we have seen is starting out from whenever you all joined us in October, we saw about 45 escalated service issues that came from through the HR team to our service team, which is a lot. It's a lot higher than we normally see. That's when we knew that we had a problem. Lately, what we've seen in a monthly service touch has been about 15 escalated service issues, which is a lot better than what we had before, and that's probably what we see on average. On those 15 service issues that we get about a month, those are typically turned around in about 1 day is the completion timeline. Now, that can vary depending on whether it's an enrollment issue or a pharmacy issue. Those take a little bit more time. Now, moving forward, I know we have our service scorecard, which details all of those and outlines all of those service touches that we do. Escalated, I know that's going to be shared with the new committee that you all are looking to create. And then additionally, all of the pharmacy issues that we've seen so far, we're looking through the remediation process of analyzing those thousands of claims that we've seen and seeing what dollar amounts that weren't paid as they should have been. So after we go through those thousands of lines of claims, we'll get a better idea of what impact we have moving forward. So that's another action item that we have.
Thank you.
Director Pearson was really passionate and involved with with this topic, and you may recall that she had a number of questions. She unfortunately could not be with us this evening. I thought I saw her submit a question, and Ms. Rigsby to Ms. Rigsby, and I didn't see her notes. Was I the only person who saw that?
Didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay. Well, are you guys going to hang around a little while?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay,
Got me.
perfect, perfect. So we can move on at this point if there are no more questions. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6.02, Board Candidate Forum. Oh, there you are, Ms. Rigsby. We're going to be here with you for a while, so we're going to add another question on as you come forward. Um,
Please don't. No, I'm sorry.
okay, we're putting you on the spot.
Good evening, everyone. President Hodge, Dr. Triplett, board members, everyone in your prospective places. For those that don't know me, my name is Cecilia Rigsby. I am the executive assistant to our superintendent and board secretary to our board. Tonight, I'm just simply bringing an announcement regarding our upcoming election. Wanted to remind everyone and the community to go out and vote on April the 8th. Um, a board of a candidate forum will be held on March the 27th at 6 o'clock p.m. at Beyond Housing. The Women League of Voters will help facilitate this event. All candidates have been made aware of the event and were encouraged to attend. You'll find our candidates listed on our website. Um, 2 seats are open for 3-year terms. Those that are running is Mr. Harlan B. Hodge, Mr. Ronald Roberts, Miss Erica Edwards, and Deanna Davis Day. And again, that forum will be held on March the 27th at Beyond Housing. Everyone is encouraged to go vote. And that is all for me, unless the board has questions.
We typically create a space for candidates to the candidates that are running for these positions. I will make sure that we have the space on our agenda to do so, but we would like for each of those candidates, if you are interested in addressing this community from this space, to fill out a public comment card, which is listed on the Normandy Schools website.
Yes.
I think that's the proper way to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rigsby. Moving on, Ms. Rigsby, before you leave, do you recall getting a question from Ms. Pearson regarding the Cigna Healthcare?
No, sir, but I can text her.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. With that being said, we're going to move to item 6.03, iReady diagnostic data.
Greetings to the Board of Education, to Dr. Triplett, to Dr. Hodge, and to the board members and the community. My name is Anthony Taylor. I'm the coordinator of data, assessment, professional development, and some other titles. I'm here to talk to you about iReady Diagnostics from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. This initiative is tied and aligned to student achievement priority for our priority strategic plan. Again, when you look at the iReady diagnostic pieces, we're looking right now at mathematics, looking at it from the fall to the winter. And you want to pay close attention to how we are looking at from the grade levels. We have On grade levels, it's not presented there, but you can see that we have in the blue for the fall or purple in the fall, we had 9% of our students on grade level. When we took it in the winter, we had 12% of our kids on grade level. The percentage of the students performing on grade level in mathematics increased from 9% in the fall that's about 146 students, to 12% in the winter, that's about 215 students. We're showing progress in achieving that goal. The reduction in the below grade level students, the percentage of students below grade level decreased from 91% in the fall to that's about 1,589 students, to 87% in the winter. That's about 1,520 students, including we're making some closing that gap of our students achieving below grade level. This is a breakdown of how our kids scored on each of the levels. Mid or above grade level, as you can see, 4% of our students in the fall went to 5%. Early on grade level, 5% went to 7%. On grade level, one grade level below, two grade levels below, and three grade levels below. What we're trying to do there, we want to decrease the number of students that are on those levels. And as you can see there, we're doing that. It's important to mention too, we have a significant amount of students, around 32% of our students, level non-determined LE&D. We've got ahead of that game by implementing from the C&I department. We talk routinely with the principals to increase the achievement of our students participating in the iReady diagnostic. Another thing that we've done, each of the buildings have a testing coordinator, where that testing coordinator communicates with me in the department on a regular basis so that we can get our kids tested. That's really important. So we've been working on that, and that's an ongoing piece. When we look at mathematics, when we look at reading, again, we want to pay close attention to how we're decreasing kids from the fall or increasing kids from the fall to the winter. When we look at on grade level, you can see there we were at 13% of kids on grade level. We went up to 21% of the kids on grade level. We want to see the opposite happen on the below grade level piece. We want to see a decrease in that number, and we certainly see it there. 87% of our kids were below grade level. Now we have 78% of our kids below grade level. And there's a breakdown here. Again, the same message. We want to make sure that we're increasing on the top two levels, and we're doing that, as you can see in reading. We went from mid or above grade level, 5%, 81% of our students, up to like 9%, and that's 157 students. Early grade level, 8%, or 137 students, went to 13%, 222 students. And again, we want to see those numbers on the bottom three levels. We want to see that number decrease. And as you make the comparison there, you see there is a decrease. So we're moving in the right direction. The same message for the level non-determined. We want to make sure that we are speaking and working with the principals in the buildings to make sure that we increase our participation rate. And those root causes I mentioned earlier, and the strategies that we put in place to improve our L&D, we're certainly working on that. From this graph here, we're looking at K-12, and we're looking at all the grade spans, and we wanted to increase the number of students on mid or above grade level. And if you look at the orange represents the winter. We from the fall, from the blue, as you can see there, all the way through K through 5, we're making strong strides in that area. Still some work yet to do in the other grade levels, but we have a strong foundation in K-5. In mathematics, same story. We want to make sure we're increasing the orange, and we're doing that. As you can see there, we are increasing students that are on grade level, and that is certainly a good feat to go. We have some work yet to do when we look at grades 6 through 12, but again, we're strong K-5. That concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there questions? Yes, Director Petty.
Good evening, Mr. Taylor. How are you this evening?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I have just one question. First of all, congratulations on the reporting of this data and the gains that are being made with regard to reading and math, and in particular the iReady assessment.
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering, what would be your thoughts on how these gains will transfer over to performance on the MAP test?
That's a good question, Dr. Petty. And iReady does a good job of giving us projections. And I'm going to be studying those reports and give you some more information, and I'll give that to you as an update. But we have our projections that we made from last year, and I'm in the process of now looking at those projections that I already made in comparison with the data that's been released. But ongoingly, we are able to look and see because I already does a projection report, and my hope, as yours, that is very closely aligned.
Other questions?
Thank you for the information, firstly. My question is kind of a broad question, and that is, I'm happy to see the gains. Thank you, thank you. So my question is, what is it that you need from the board, but more specifically from the community, to help us keep moving in that direction? I mean, there are things that you need us to do? Are there tools that you need? What is needed?
Well, let me say this. First of all, the board has been very, very responsive to our needs around iReady and making sure that we get the right equipment in the teacher's hands. So I've been before you before where we talked about funding different things from our iReady and the technology pieces that we need for programming. You guys have certainly done that, and certainly we look forward to your continued support. I think for the community, I think that the principals and the teachers are doing a good job, a fairly good job of getting information out to parents to let them know that the tests, the assessments that we give are the twofold. Obviously, give the teachers the information they need, but also prepare our kids for a better future. So I think our principals are doing a great job. The communities are doing a good job of getting that message out. We just want that to continue.
And Director Milton Roberts, I'm sorry. Um, those L&D numbers are huge. L&D means those are students who have not taken the assessment due to absences or whatever. So one of the things we hope in giving this information that our community understands is that our kids got to be in school. They have to be in school to take these assessments so that we can know how to support them academically. So the help from you is to make sure we're really vigilant on getting our students to school.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett.
Mr. Humphrey.
Yeah, well, I think that, thank you, Dr. Triplett, because that was one of my questions. Because as I looked at the presentation, I noticed the percentages of completion, and I know as a district we got. I guess the question I have is, knowing the number of young people that are levels not determined this time around, what processes or procedures are in place to ensure we get higher participation rates going forward?
Yes, sir. Good question. Um, when we break the numbers down, we looked at the middle school who's made some huge improvements on their participation rate. The high school is one of our areas of a challenge, and we're working closely with the building principals there, the assistant principals, and I'm in contact with them on a daily basis throughout the testing process to make sure they're scheduling makeups, make sure they're grabbing those kids. But as Dr. Triplett mentioned, one of the biggest hurdles that we face, kids aren't in school. And that's particularly true in the high school.
And Director Humphrey, after speaking with the high school team, one of the strategies is to treat iReady like we do MAP. So we're going to make sure on those testing days we have a whole testing room so we can start servicing multiple students rather than classrooms of students. And so doing that, we get the biggest bulk of students so that we won't miss any students. And every day they'll go back and make sure check the attendance to make sure they are not skipping students who have attended during that window. So they have a plan they created, I think, last week around how to go back and get those students who have missed a test.
Okay. And I guess the other question, there was a slide that you showed where there was progress being made grades 1 through 5, and I think you indicated there was more work that needs to be done grades 6 through 12. And in a broad sense, uh, to what do you attribute the success in grades 1 through 5 and the lack of movement 6 through 12? Is there any conversation there?
Well, yeah, those conversations are certainly happening at the building levels for sure. I think when you think of K-5, the kids are in school more, and 6 through 8, attendance usually falls off. But one of the things that we have in place now, and we have throughout the entire school year, when this happened, we have our diagnostic pieces. Teachers are digging into this data, putting together instructional strategies, and fine tuning their instruction to get those kids learning. Small group instruction, those sorts of things are happening. But I think that's more prevalent in the K-5 model than we see in the 6 through 8 model. But that's something that building principals are aware of. And again, having the diagnostic PD times coming up even this Friday, they're going to be digging into this data and to determine how we get kids learning more.
And I guess one final question is, um, I think one of the things, and as I speak to my board colleagues, I think one of the questions I have is I know that within our population we have anywhere from 30 to 35% transient.
Yes.
And do we have a way to disaggregate our data to be able to look at those kids that are in the district 2 or more years versus those that have been less than that? Because what it will do, I believe, is to give us a better indication if our educational systems are working for those kids that have been in the district a much longer time. So I think it would be very helpful to have that conversation. The other thing I think it would be helpful as I looked at uh, the data is to really take the idea, already data. I know we have it uh, across grade spans and across the district. But I also think, in light of some of the reports we had about progress in ELA and math, it would also be helpful to have that data attached to the schools so we can have a better picture of the movement at that school as opposed to, the district is fine, but we need to make sure that we're getting proper movement at the school level.
Absolutely, and thanks for saying that. Appreciate that, sir. One of the tools that you guys helped us with and approved was our Power School Analytics piece, where we were able to look at multi-tiered instruction. We'll be able to put all the triangulation of data together and go across the board and see what the root causes are for kids not learning, and to have that data in front of teachers, in front of our MTISS specialist and coordinator, and working on those data points that'll be readily available. And Power School Analytics is going to do that, a tool that we did not have before. So we'll be able to triangulate data and get that information into the hands of the people that closer to the kids.
And I appreciate that because I think one of the things that will help is as we're beginning to further nuance the data and understand where we are academically, it helps the board with alignment around resources because I'm most concerned about those kids that are 1, 2, and 3 years behind in their learning because uh, we're starting to see movement at the early grades, but we need to have movement at all grades. And so we just got to figure out how to be more relentless around getting the results that we're looking for. I do appreciate the report you're giving, and I look forward to the nuancing of the data going forward because we got to get it figured out.
Thank you, sir.
Secretary Taylor.
Thank you for your presentation. And most of the questions that I'd actually written down, Director Humphrey already referred to those. But my concern was, or my statement is, um, I know that the staff is doing everything that they can to, get the children to come to school. Our superintendent said one of the issues is absenteeism. And so, is there any way that we can really try to reach out to the parents and to help them to understand just how important it is for the children to be at school so that they can be tested, so that they can succeed? Because that's what we really want. We just want to make sure that our children are succeeding. And it seems like once they get to that sixth grade, that's where the graph began to change. The numbers, instead of it going up, it began to come down.
Mhm.
So
Like,
other than, I mean, and I know that you all are doing everything that you can. You're
yeah.
doing everything, and we applaud you for that. But I was just wondering, is there anything else other than that? Maybe reaching out to the parents to really try to get the parents to understand the importance of their children being at school, not just for testing, but coming to school.
Yeah. Good observation. And yes, I think there's certainly a sense of urgency around that. I think our fellows are working at the building level with our principals and the social workers and everyone's hands on board. I think having good data is going to help us do that as well. But there's ongoing efforts to get that done. And it, as you know, is going to take some time, but the messaging has to be consistent, has to be all the time. It has to be in people's faces about why it's important for kids to be in school. So I think what Dr. Triplett said, getting a message out and keeping that message in front of kids, in front of parents, and say, hey, your kid needs to be in school, have to be in school.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Edwards and then Miss Milton Roberts.
Thank you, President Hodge. My question would be, since we're on the topic of talking about parents and getting them to understand the importance of their students being in school every day, how are the parents informed about the progress on the iReady in the iReady diagnostics, and also what resources are available to them to support learning at home?
Thanks for the question. And yes, parents are aware. My daughter goes to Jefferson Elementary, and I get notifications about diagnostics coming up, testing that's going to be happening and occurring. So if I'm getting that information, I know other parents are as well. So I think there's good efforts to work for parents to know how kids are progressing and how they're working on these diagnostics. So I know I get the reports. I know parents are getting them as well. But there's some natural ways of doing that, sending the copy of the report home to parents, and then also parent teacher conferences. And parents are always welcome to to ask questions to the building principal or to their teachers about that. Your second part of your question?
Resources are available to them to help support the learning at home.
Well, I think I want to turn to my colleagues for this, and maybe they give me a nod. But parents can log on from iReady at home. That is true. Dr. McConnell says yes. So yes, parents can get on the portal and they can look at how kids are progressing and how they're working on different strategies and techniques and information to help them improve their learning. So parents have that option as well.
And one of the biggest pushes we're trying to do is to really push parents to get on the portal. We have about 200 of our families out of 2,800 who use the portal. So we're really doing creating a really big push around parents being using that portal because that's where a lot of communication takes place, and a lot of grades and attendance, a lot of information about our children are on the portal. So this is another plea. Please get on the portal to make sure that we're understanding what's going on academically and socially with our children so that we can have some more and better informed conversations around that.
Thank you. Milton Roberts.
Yes, to kind of piggyback on that, that sounds exciting. Yeah, I look forward to hearing what you guys are going to, put into place to get those folks engaged with that portal, because I think that's important. A question that I have is, we're making these gains, and I'm really excited about that. So, oh, I'm not used to talking like, sorry. We're making those gains, and I'm very excited about that. And hands hands up, and all that to everybody. One of the things that we know that happens over the summer is that there's usually a lag, that people kind of backtrack a little bit in their reading and their math and so forth. So my question to you is there some type of a strategy for the parents as well as the children so that we can maintain this progress forward and not have this backslide that traditionally happens, and sometimes it's pretty, in our communities, pretty significant?
That's a good question. And I know obviously we have summer school too, and we're using our iReady data to help us determine the good candidates for summer school. And so that's going to help some of the lagging and some of the regression that happens over the summer kind of naturally. But we encourage parents, and I'm sure the principals are doing this as well. Reading is the key, literacy is the key, practicing is the key. And I know a lot of the buildings and the teachers, and I know this is probably still a tradition that goes on. They give package to do over the summer, information to practice their skills and hone on those skills. But one of the biggest things that we have going for us is obviously our summer school program, and we look at We'll use the iReady diagnostic information to help us to determine the good candidates for summer school.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? Is the summer school available to all children or just to specifically identified children?
It's available for all students. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Mr. Humphrey.
I just had one other comment. As going back to the conversation we were having about informing parents around attendance and iReady and all of that, uh, I know that at every grade level, there's grade level expectations. How are parents made aware of what their children are expected to know in each of the respective grades? How does that get communicated to parents?
Well, I think they can certainly look at the curriculum pieces that we have posted. Our department takes a real hard look and an analytic view of all the Missouri Learning Standards. We've identified our priority standards in ELA, math, social studies across the board, everywhere from kindergarten all the way up to high school. And that information is made available to parents. They can look on websites and look on our district website, and that's communicated through the teachers to the kids and information that goes home as well. But there's no missing the mark when it comes to what kids should be able to know and be able to do. Our teachers are doing a fabulous job at that information, provided the information the information is given by our CNI department to teachers on an ongoing basis. So I would say to parents, pay attention to the assignments that are coming home, get involved with what your kids are doing in school, asking them questions and, you know, asking how things are going in certain areas of their content. But there's no misguided, there's no missing the mark about what we've been very explicit about what kids should know and be able to do on every grade level from K-12.
Thank you. As you can see, the board is very invested in supporting our classroom teachers, students, and parents in this effort. Um, there's an underlying question that I think was started out by Milton Roberts, who said, "What can we do to support?" And one of the challenges that we have as a district is that, and this is not unique for our district, but in education, we think that we can do it all in the district. This is a classic problem that is bigger than our district. We need our community to lean in on this. And I don't think the answer is expecting more from parents. I think we need to do an assessment of who does well in this district. We currently do not have strong data that shows us how well we do with students who've been here with us since early ed. They were with us in first, second, third, fourth grade, and so on. I think we need to explore what Mr. Humphrey is asked about is how does the transient nature of our population impact us? But also we need to understand the impact of mobility on all of our kids. Because if we've got students that are here today, gone tomorrow, we don't know how our investment is doing. So we're advocating for a regional tool to track students' mobility. But that's more important that if housing is a challenge for our students' performance, which we know it is, are there things that we can do as a community to stabilize housing for our families so that they don't have to move, so that we can keep them here in the district longer? And that's where community partnerships can really help us if they have the data. And so I'm going to ask us to be very diligent about collecting data and working with our FAILs and our community partners to help stabilize homes and not just beat up on parents to say you should be doing more, but is there something our community can do to sort of stabilize homes and help families at the same time? So long story short, I need us to work more closely with our community partners so that they can help families do the things that they need to do so students can thrive.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the time. We do need to move forward, but thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to move to item 6.01, school presentations. I think Dr. Burgess is up next. Thank you so much.
It's 04.
6.04. Oh, great.
Good evening, Dr. Triplett, President Hodge, Board of Education. These are
evening.
the current updates for Barack Obama Elementary.
Thank you.
Projected enrollment versus actual enrollment. The projected enrollment was 235, the actual enrollment 245. Student attendance in regards to 90/90 across the board, starting from August through December, the 90/90 increased significantly over the past 2 years. Disciplinary infractions from last year to this year are down significantly. And our MPI goals in regards to MAP um, between 2023 and 2024 for ELA, there was a difference of 80.8. For math, a difference of 41.3, and science, a difference of 63.7 in regards to where the MPI scores fell. The goal for this year is to be on target for ELA. So from 2024 to 2025, moving from being on track to being on target. For math, approaching, we'll still be in the approaching status, but we plan to increase at least 25 points. And for science, we plan on moving from approaching to on track. And that is it.
Before I entertain questions, I'd like for you to do something for us, and we've asked this in the past. If you could go back to your presentation, starting with slide 4, give us the information, help us understand what it means, and what are your actions that you're going to take to address the concerns related to those numbers, or what you've done to help move things in the right direction.
So for enrollment, the projected enrollment, initially we hadn't met the goal. And so we began to call parents, do home visits, different things like that. And so now we are past the goal for enrollment.
So you guys really leaned in on calling parents and getting that's to be celebrated. I don't want us to overlook that, right? That's the kind of work to do. They're cutting me out, so I'll let you go ahead and finish. Thank you.
You want me to go to the next?
Yes, absolutely.
And you just want me to elaborate?
I want you to tell us what these numbers mean, and we've got the numbers. What do they mean? What needs to be done?
So for 90/90, we are surpassing the previous year's goals. But for December, there was a kind of decrease. So I think more calls to parents. Previously stated in the board meeting, we have a lot of parents picking up early, which affects attendance. So still having conversations with parents about how that affects attendance, how that affects academics, even just the culture and relationships with the teacher. All of that is affected through the attendance. We also have incentives. We've had a attendance. We have daily recognition.
Attendance.
Yes. We have daily recognitions by class. So classes who meet the 90/90 every day. We have staff recognitions. Our secretary each month, students who've met the 90/90 or above, they get an actual treat from her. We also have lunch with the principal twice a month. One student from each grade level is selected, and they have to have 90% or above attendance. Those students who have 100% attendance, we are looking to do some things for them as well.
I love it. And just for the sake of our education, what is 90/90?
Um, Students who are in attendance 90% of the time. Um,
And 90% of our students will be here 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And just so the board and the community knows, we're in the process of creating an acronym list to put on our website. So when you hear things like MPI, you know exactly what that means. And so I would ask all of the presenters, school presenters, when you start talking about these acronyms, please say what they are first because we lose a lot of people in the audience.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you. Let's keep moving forward.
Disciplinary infractions are down quite a bit. We currently have interventionists in the building who meet with our Tier 3 students on an everyday basis. We have two different intervention specialists. We have Branch Solutions and we have Males Men. Branch Solutions, they pretty much service all students in Tier 3. Males Men are specific to our male students in first through fifth grades. So between them, our counselor, bringing in parents, having parent conversations, care teaming. We're addressing discipline through those ways before we look to punitive ways such as suspensions.
It's great.
And then MPI, Missouri Performance Index. Those are the numbers that the state uses to determine whether your building is on level for ELA, for math, for science. And so for the past 2 years, in 2023, we were approaching for ELA. 2024, we were on track. This year, we plan on being on target.
Okay.
For math, we were on the floor. In 2023, 2024, we moved up. We were approaching. This year, we'll still be in the approaching category, but that's just because of the numbers and how many points you need to move from category to category. So gaining 25 points is a lot.
And you mentioned that you're planning to do that, and that's so much more than just planning. You have an entire school improvement plan that you've outlined. Is that plan available for the entire public to see?
It is, yes. It was presented to the state and approved, and it is available for the public.
Great, thank you so much. I think was there another slide after that one? I think that was the last one. Perfect. Questions, Mr. Humphrey?
Uh, just a quick question. You refer to students as tier 3. What does that mean?
So those are the students who, so in regards to discipline and academics, those students who need the most support. So they are in regards to behavior, we call them frequent flyers. So those are the students who are consistently referred to the office for anything from fighting to eloping, different things like that. And in regards to academic, those are the students who Mr. Taylor referred to as 2 or 3 grade levels below their academic level. Those are the students that we're focused on.
And I guess the only other question I have, when you said right now math is approaching and the goal is to get to on target. At the rate of progress that you're making, when would you anticipate getting to on target? Do you have any sense of how long that might take?
I don't have a sense of how long. I can say that based on the this most recent iReady assessment, all grade levels have shown improvement in math. We've had more than 50% of students in each grade level increase in regards to their scores. So I can't tell you how long, but I can tell you that the improvements are being made and that I do foresee us meeting that goal.
And I guess my final comment, we would talk, Dr. Triplett, if it's possible, and board colleagues, I think as we look at the data, it would probably be helpful to be able to see cohort data going forward. That way we can look at third graders and what they look like fourth grade, and fifth, because I think it'll give us a better sense of our movement if we start to look at cohort data.
We do have that for Barack Obama. So students who were in the building the previous year, we do have their data graphed. So from last year to this year, where they were then, where they are now. And we also have their MAP scores aligned with that as well.
Just can you give us a general sense of year over year? What percentage of students are you seeing return year over year?
So this is my first year at Barack. So I can say more than 80% of the students have returned to Barack Obama.
Okay, great. Other questions? Miss Edwards.
Thank you, President Hodge. My question is, due to the increase of the projected enrollment, how has that affected the student teacher ratio?
It has not significantly affected it at all.
Okay. Other questions? If there are no more questions, thank you so much, Ms. Burgess. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you. Moving on to item 6.05, school presentations, we will hear from Normandy Middle School.
Good evening
Good evening.
Evening.
to the board, President Hodges, and to Dr. Triplett. My name is Hope Sutton, and I am the proud principal at Normandy Middle School. I am coming to you this evening with an update in regards to our behavior, attendance, and academics. Our projected enrollment was 633, and we are we are at 625 actually as of today, 622 with this presentation, with 2 more students being enrolled or starting tomorrow. So we're approaching the projected enrollment. Our 90-90 attendance, we are still doing better than last year. From August to November, our 90-90 leveled out at about 91. We took a nice drop in December, and we did discuss that, and we chalked that up to it being the holidays and students not feeling well. But I know right now it's not up there, but we're back at 90 and 91%, I think, respectively, for January and February. So still going in the right direction, not as high as I would like to see it, but we're working on it. We make phone calls, we do home visits as well. We have attendance incentives. Um, we are getting ready to have an attendance dance coming up by grade level. So we're encouraging the kids. We're talking to the kids. I've sent messages via school messenger to families explaining to them what 90-90 is and the importance of being in school. So headed in the right direction. Just need to maintain that 90 at minimum.
Can I interject here? I just
Yes.
want the board to know, and really want to give you a round of applause because that's a really strong number for a middle school with that many students. Normally, middle schools average between 77 to 80%. She's well above that. So thank you to you and your team.
Thank you. Our disciplinary infractions, in comparison to previous years are lower. August ISS was 17. By December or November, we were at 36, December 23. OSS lowest was 11 in December. Our highest was in October at 29. But suspensions are fairly low. So disciplinary infractions, I would like to see them lower still, but we're holding. We also work with our tier 3 kiddos who have behavior um, that need more supports, should I say. So we have a behavior interventionist. We have a new one who started today. We also have some groups that our counselor and our SEL team, they work with. There's an all girls group. We have an all boys group. And just to kind of talk to them about what's going on, how we can be of support to them. In our ISS room, we've incorporated morning circles and reflection time. Our school within a school will begin on Tuesday because we have all the necessary staff members in place now. So we are trying to target our kiddos, but not just giving them consequences, but really helping them work through the issues, those foundational issues that are causing them to act out. And then our Missouri Performance Index goal, 22 and 23, we were at 310 points. That's ELA. And I want to say I took off the approaching and the target, but I think that was approaching. Um, in 23, 24, we gained those 5 points. The goal for this year is 381 points. That's significant. So we need to increase by 65.5 points. That's a big jump. In math of 22, 23, we were at 252. The next year we increased by 18 points, almost 19. The goal for this year is 301 points. That's 29 more points. So we have some work ahead of us. I know science was on the floor, that was literally low, and then they dropped another 12 points. This year, the goal is 300. So a lot of work to do. We are getting ready next week to start after school tutoring to work with kiddos who we know are close to that next performance level, because we know we can target them, with some specific testing strategies and maybe some of the skills that they need more practice with. So that'll start next week. And we're also incorporating some strategies day to day within our do nows during each of the class periods. We have English teachers working on them for all the English classes, math teachers working on it for all the math classes. So we can incorporate it school wide. So we're working on it. We're trying to get there. That's it. Questions?
Thank you, Dr. Sutton. Questions?
Question.
Ms. Taylor.
Thank you for your presentation. You said that beginning next week you'll begin the tutoring. Will this be after school?
After school,
This will be after school.
3:30 to about 5:15, because buses will get there at 5:30.
And that was going to be my next question. So you've already set it up to make sure that the buses will be there and the parents will be aware.
Yes, we have
Okay.
a parent letter that's being sent home today and tomorrow, physical copies and emailed. And then we are solidifying the list and giving that to the buses so that they know. The only issue is I think each bus can only have 48, and we have more than 48
Okay.
that need it. So we're just working through some logistics.
And I was also excited to see the numbers where it had it as far as the infractions, because we know at this middle school age, that's where a lot of things go on. So I was excited to see that when I was looking over, and I said that was a great improvement. So I don't know what you've been doing, but you all keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And I know it's a team effort. It's not just one
Absolutely.
person, it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Mr. Humphrey?
Uh, During your presentation, you mentioned a couple of things. Can you briefly tell us what the morning circle is?
The morning circle in the restorative room or the ISS
Oh.
rooms. So they're just talking about why they're in the room, first of all, how their day went the previous day, because our some of them are 2 days, some of them are 1 days. So they're just talking about the process, why they're in there, how could they have prevented that, and anything else that comes up. But it's just a reflection time.
And then the other thing you mentioned a school within a school.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that if you would.
We have created, it's it's our ISS room, our restorative room, but we've extended the amount of time. We have some who need more supports. They need time to be taught how to behave in class. They need more supports with the SEL team so they can get that there. They still do their classwork. They'll still have support from their teachers, but they are in a smaller setting. We have several students who benefit from being in a smaller setting and getting one-on-one attention. So we have 5 per grade level that we'll take at a time, because we don't want it to be a lot of kids. So about 15 students will be in there, and it's not punitive, but it's really meant to help the kiddos. So some kids are a good fit, some are not. Some students, they won't stay. They won't do what's necessary. That wouldn't be the space for them. but it's more so for the kid who is going to work hard, take advantage of the circles and the counseling time and to get their work done and one-on-one with teachers.
Other questions? Ms. Edwards.
Thank you. My question would be how are we equipping our teachers to handle challenge, cham, challenging behaviors proactively versus retroactively?
Hmm, That's a good question. So we have talked about this in many of our staff meetings, classroom management, making sure kids are aware of the expectations first. So if they don't know what you expect, then of course they're going to do whatever. But the expectations, what happens if you do, what happens if you don't, and then being consistent. And I was looking at a PD to have someone come in, but also with the Legacy Center to work with teachers over classroom management and setting expectations and being consistent with those expectations.
And additionally, Director Edwards, the district has a district-wide professional development committee made up of parents, teachers from every school, et cetera. And what they do is they kind of convene and talk about the issues and what teachers need help with. And they have addressed and they do have professional development around classroom management. That you'll see that calendar be presented here very soon. But there is a committee that brings all of that information together and formulate what professional development looks like the entire year. So you'll see that coming soon.
Great. Other questions? I just want to say that middle school is a very special place. God bless y'all. I was gonna ask Cheryl's question if she didn't. Go ahead, Miss.
I just want to say I was really excited when we pulled up, I guess it was last month, and I couldn't find a parking space because you all had an activity.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to say I mean, that made my heart sing because, that's what we want. We want the parents and the kids and their siblings and so forth here. And at first I pulled up and I'm like, what is going on?
Thought they would
No
come.
parking spaces.
Yes.
So I just applaud you all for number one, having those types of events that the kids can come to, and number two, that the kids and the families wanted to come. So that's great.
Mr. President,
Yes, Miss Taylor.
I just wanted to say, I was like, Lord, thank you. We're finally getting the community to come out and to support the board meetings. And then I came in and I heard someone saying,
There's a,
someone was
there's a
saying the
basketball
food is down there.
Well, we've got a full house tonight, and so we want to be respectful of their time. So our hats off are to you. Please let us know how we can support the wonderful work that you're doing here at our middle school. Thank you so
Marlon,
much.
can I have one quick comment?
You don't get another question. Go ahead.
It's
No.
not a question. No, I just wanted to say I appreciate the challenging goals that you set in front of you because I looked at those numbers and I know it's not going to be easy to get there. And I just want to let you know that I do recognize that you're trying to push the system to get to what you want to get. So my hat's off to you.
We're here. Do you have any of your staff members here tonight? Which they should have gone home already, but do you have any of your staff here tonight?
I do.
Could you have them play a stand? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you all do. We're going to move on to item 6.06, our December 2024 year-to-date financial report.
Okay. Good evening again, Board of Education and Dr. Triplett and Normandy Schools community. At this time, I'm going to look at the financial position of the district through December of this year. And I'm going to get our tech team to come help me pull the document up. Thank you, sir. Couple of quick little points to point out. I think we can gain a little bit more time here. The district's financial position remains strong through December of the end of the year, the calendar year. We have banked or basically have savings of just under $30 million at $29,895,000 through again December 31st. That is boosting our overall fund reserves to 44.23%. So that's a strong financial position. We had revenues that came in during the month of December alone of about 8.8 million, and that was largely from tax assessments. So property tax collections on assessed valuation brought in about $6.5 million of that money. That was a robust month, and we basically annually, just so you know, we have our months of December and January that are robust months where we receive tax collections that boost our reserves and our financial position. We had expenditures, associated expenditures year to date coming in at about 24 million. We had about $6 million in expenditures that came through largely on salary and benefit payments to personnel during the month of course, December and really year to date. And so our total fund reserves in really the operating funds, which are our general and our incidental and teachers funds, are running at about 30.03%, which is a very strong financial position and fund reserve balance. Again, as we've stated many times, the state requires a 3% fund reserve, and we're just slightly over 10 times that amount through the end of December. I want to note that January will also be a fairly strong month because we have, again, that other pair of large tax property tax assessments that will be coming in. So in looking at our picture, our fund reserve position audited, and again, you all know our audit that we completed and submitted in December finished, and we had a strong audit, but we had funds of 26 million in savings that were audited. We have had revenues year to date of 33.7 million, related expenditures through December of 30.7 million. So that boosts again our ending fund reserve to 29.8 million. So that's very strong, and that gives us an overall fund reserve of 44.23%, and then just in the operating funds 30.03%. We wanted to mention a few of the things that our financial operations are performing and doing on the horizon currently, and as we project through the rest of the fiscal year. We are working through the initial development of the 25-26 budget. We're working with Dr. Triplett and with all other stakeholders, administrators, teachers, et cetera, and we're going to be working through that process. We will probably be asking you, as we did last year, for a budget workshop in March sometime. We'd like to sit down once we gather some information and begin to work through this process, sit down with you all collectively to look at and to have a budget workshop. As we've mentioned earlier, with the team, with the Cigna team and our brokers and our staff, we've been working with HR and others to really resolve these Cigna healthcare issues. I think we have a strong healthcare product. We've been working in tandem together as a team, and as the team has mentioned tonight, we've really worked through a lot of problems. It's been a yeoman effort. You look at it, but it's I think we're in a pretty solid position at this time. We continue to work with Highland Fleet Company on the acquisition of the new electric buses. I do want to mention this, and I think we've had to communicate to you all earlier. We were actually fortunate we're proceeding to get all of our electric buses. Federally, there's been a pause that's affected Rittner, St. Louis Public, and FERC Floor, but we were able to get our buses and our programming through. So we have the transportation depot that's currently going to be renovated and going. We're going to have a little bit more talk as Jossie comes forward in a little bit, but that's a great accomplishment as well. And so we're going to push forward. We hope to have all of those buses and the transportation depot completed by early fall this year. We are working with the Human Resources Department to solicit and implement a new accounting system. So we need an accounting and HR system that's going to be integrated, and it's going to really take us to a higher plane with regard to our information. We have so many various systems that are antiquated, and we're really trying to get to a more positive place. In addition to these things, we also will be bringing forth to you all, Dr. Triplett and I are going to be meeting soon with our underwriter, Stifel Nicholas, because there is an opportunity for a $50 million bond issue that we qualify for and that our assessed valuation allows us to go after. That's a no tax increase, by the way. And we can go out to the community as early as next April in doing so. And this will again address all of the capital project needs district-wide that we have remaining. So this is a great thing that's going to really take the district to a great place, a positive place for the next 10, 20 years with regard to our facilities. So we have that on the horizon as well, and there's more coming that we will be communicating to you in the near future. So those are some of the things that we are working on currently as a finance and operations department or sector. Are there any questions that you have at this time?
Great. Thank you so much. Are there questions?
I only have one. You talked about the $50 million bond issue. I know that also on a parallel track is the facilities plan. Will that facilities plan be finished in time to impact the conversation around the bonds?
Yes, sir. It will be. That's going to be pretty important. So we're going to be working in tandem. So as KAI and our group helps us work this master plan, this facilities master plan, all of these items are going to be incorporated. We're going to be looking district-wide at the needs, all of the needs for the district, remaining needs, and we're going to be prioritizing those needs to ensure that we can fit them in, hopefully, into this $50 million bond issue that we go out to the community with. And of course, we want to get buy-in from the community. So this effort, we're going to have this master plan well along the way to do so.
Good. Are there other questions? Milton Roberts.
Just really an inquiry on that master plan. Will we get an opportunity to see like what the scope of that plan is prior to it actually being put out there?
You will.
Okay, thank you. And I
If
do
there are no-
appreciate the use of your presentation.
If there are no other questions, thank you so much, Mr. Brooks. We
Thank you.
appreciate the presentation. We'll move on to item 6.07 KAI. We've got Mr. Jossie Haynes here to give us an update on Prop V and our construction update.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Triplett, President Hodge, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jossie Haynes, Vice President of KAI. So KAI contract amendment process and contract change order process. We identify costs, evaluate costs, negotiate best price, reach the recommended costs, and then we go to the bond meeting to have meetings about that cost, and then we issue contract after approval is made. Our current completion schedules, Bell Ridge bus lot is underway. As Mr. Brooks mentioned earlier, that we're fortunate to have secured those funds. That project is still moving forward. We've been reviewing design and also the project costs. I think that's coming to Dr. Brooks. He's gonna, not Mr. Brooks, sorry, on that project. I'm just calling into existence. All right. So that in regard to that, we're working through that with Highland. The CSE board room, that's scheduled to end this quarter, and we're on track. It's exciting because I know that a lot of work that's going into it is going to alleviate a lot of the issues that I see here with the technology challenges. But I'm excited about that as well. So additional facilities support. We're going to be working on all those list of projects and scheduled to be ending by the fourth quarter of this year. Here's some pictures of the actual activities at the boardroom. As you can see, ceiling is in. We have we are cleaning up the space, and that's happening. So this is the backside of the restroom, and actually what it is before and after. So this is what it looked like before. This is actually the small conference room, and all of there'll be cabinets that'll be on that wall for use during executive board meetings and different things like that. Here is the dais. This is just the kind of what it's looking like now. It's coming together. A lot of technologies up underneath that. When I say technology, a lot of wires are underneath that stage. Here's just the roof work that was being done, where we had to displace some members of the staff, and they were so gracious and allowed us to work in their space. And we're so excited that we're finished with that particular scope, and we're moving forward to getting them back in their space. And their work is not. The challenge was we didn't want anybody below it in case it went through the ceiling. Wanted to make sure it was clear. Here's just a picture of the rendering of what the facility will look like when it's complete. We are working to continue progress. Right now, it's currently 75% complete. On the roof penetrations, we saw that in the picture. Ceramic wall tile is going in. Acoustic tiling is in, and the CTI was on site, and they're starting to install their audio visual infrastructure, which has been good. So this is just a rendering of what it's going to look like. It's complete. When it's complete, if you walk over there, you kind of can see it's starting to take shape. This is just a perspective looking through the glass partition that will be entering that space. So additional school campus work. So with the encumbered funds, the project is currently we're working on the findings for the football field track. That's actually under contract now. We just recently got that contract going. The contract management track field for Bernie Jones, that's happening. Update interior press box. That's work that's being worked on currently as we're working with the engineers to get that spec'd out. Preliminary findings for cosmetic, Viking Hall, refresh the concession stands. I've been working with Dr. Triplett specifically on a lot of these primary items, and we're looking to get this all underway before the end of the year. Here's just a cost projection. Mr. Brooks, call into existence again. It's going to happen soon, sir. The cost projections for this project, what we're looking at for the school to kind of have an idea of what they're going to be spending for the end of the year. When we're done at the end of the year, the goal should be that we have spent all of the ESSER funds. This is just an allocations of the funds that were put together between the Prop B and ESSER funds. This is showing the current costs where we are. We haven't had any change orders on this project currently. We've been working diligently, and it's almost, like I said, 75%. We're at the finish. We're crossing the end zone soon here, and it's looking pretty good that we're not going to probably have any challenges with getting this done. MBE spend, our goal 25, 33, 5% for female women-owned businesses, 3%. Here's a log of the savings. We're currently at 2 million, holding that 2 million currently. We are tracking some savings, but main projects are complete. We're just working on these last few projects, so we'll continue to track that as we go along. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Questions? Great. I don't think we have any questions tonight.
Have a
Thank
good
you
evening.
so much for your presentation. Moving on to item 6.08, attendance update as of January 30th. We'll hear from Dr. Brooks.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
Good evening, Mrs. Rigsby. Good evening, Dr. Triplett, Mr. Hodge, and directors of the board. My name is Tony Brooks. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Student Support Services, and I'm going to give you our monthly attendance update as of January 30th, 2025.
We're doing really good on time.
And we're going to continue to do so.
Okay.
Our strategic priority, impactful partnerships. We strengthen family and community partnerships through tighter coordination and alignment to strategic priorities. As of February 7th, our actual enrollment increased from 2823 to 2857. So there is an increase when I reported this until February 7th, which is indicative of enrollment increasing, going in the right direction. There was a slight decrease, 2% in January regarding our 90-90. Again, 90-90 is a reference to having a minimum of 90% of our students in class 90% of the time. The two most impactful factors impacting attendance, especially during these winter months, as alluded by our colleagues, Ms. Sutton and Dr. Burgess, illness and weather. Those are two significant factors impacting our attendance right now. But that trend will turn. Here are some of the strategies that we're using to improve attendance every month. Additionally, as we were talking about Power School earlier, we want parents to, as mentioned, be a part of actually getting into Power School, using it as a tool because we need everyone to do so. To help with that, we're having our parent engagement and community involvement specialist, Mr. Parker. I'm sorry, Mr. David Parker, that you met before, in addition to the Fells. And every school, they have their own attendance group, and they are doing very well. And like I said, within a month or two, we'll see a turn. Lastly, I want to bring up someone who's very important to the department. She's working hard. I will not steal her thunder and explain what MTSS is. I welcome to speak to you all briefly, Mrs. Haythorne.
Thank you, Doc Winters.
Good evening, everyone, Board, President Hodge, Dr. Triplett. My name is Passion Bragg Haythorne. I am the MTSS interventionist for Normandy Schools Collaborative. MTSS is multi-tier systems of supports. So I am in charge of being proactive with our high need students. MTSS is a framework that we work from. It is a noun, it's not a verb. We are utilizing our resources to give our most neediest students the interventions that they need to be academically and behavior successful. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't leave that fast. Wait.
Less is more.
We'll give you a chance. Let us settle in a little bit. Mr. Humphrey.
As you talk about those students that are struggling, I'm always interested in data. Do we have any baseline data in terms of how many students will be involved in this MTSS framework?
Well, all of our students are. 80% of our students are going to get universals, which is the tier one, which is PBIS, strong academic core instruction. Our tier two students are students that need just a little bit more support to get them academically and behavior where they need to be. Now, our tier three students is what I'm charged with, and I'm working throughout the district. We have about maybe 3 to 5% of those students that need very intensive supports that we include our wraparound partners to give those services, such as like the Core Collective is here at the middle school giving counseling. I'm happy to report that in March, we will be bringing back Annie's Hope to our students that have experienced a death of a parent. Those are some of the supports that we're helping provide so our students can be successful. And Chad's also. And they do our suicide prevention, and they are one of our on-site partners to help support with our students' social emotional learning.
Okay. Other questions? Ms. Edwards?
Hello, I apologize. I had to step away during your presentation, so I hope I didn't miss the question that I'm about to ask. How has the MTSS attributed or helped with attendance improvement and student performance?
Well, we all work in sync, and as you can tell, our data is in the right direction. We're making sure that the correct supports and interventions and being proactive when it comes to that.
Great. Thank you for this presentation. I have one question, and we should be asking ourselves this quite often. The University of Missouri St. Louis is an anchor institution for our area, and there are tons of resources at the university. I know we've had some conversations with them. Can you give us a state of that relationship as it relates to this work?
Actually, I'm newly into this role in the last few months, and actually, it's funny that you bring up University of Missouri, St. Louis next door. We do have some great partnerships with them. Just like today, I was in a meeting. We're referring two of our students to their University Touch program that will help students regulate emotions that are doing inappropriate touching. We have several of those at this time. So
Great.
we're working with them as well.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Great. So I think we're at the point where we're moving to item 6.09. We're going to hear a security update from Mr. Campbell.
Well, good evening again, Mr. President, board members, Dr. Triplett, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I'll be going over our crisis alert numbers, which is Centegix. For the month of January, we had a total of 34 alerts, and they can be broken down by we had 2 suspicious behavior alerts, 2 behavior alerts, 6 altercations, 10 inadvertent presses, and 12 tests. And these are our numbers for the year. For the entire school year, we've had a number of 207 alerts, 57 physical altercations, 66 tests, 25 inadvertent press, 8 suspicious behaviors, 50 behaviors, and 1 medical. And that concludes my Centegix numbers for the month.
We are really excited to hear from security. We've asked for this to be a part of our monthly celebration here in the district because we have a goal of being the safest school district in the St. Louis region, and you're helping to get us there. So, what questions do we have, Ms. Taylor?
Are we able to ask anything about the cell phone ban?
Well,
regarding this?
you may, but as of today, we really don't have the complete data, and that's why I didn't present that this evening because we're still calculating and making sure that all the schools are reporting it properly and put it in the right place. So I don't have that data as of today, but I will be reporting on it next month for sure.
I was just going to ask you, how is it going?
Uh, I can tell you this.
Without data or anything, I
No,
just
no,
want
no,
to know
ma'am,
from,
no, ma'am. And
your
I'll be
personal
very
experience. Yeah.
vague, but specific in the same sense.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids are very innovative in how they're trying to get these phones in, and it
Mm-hmm.
is almost comical of some of the things that they have tried to do. And our administration and my security team has been very diligently depicting those things and getting those cell phones and reporting them to the school administrators. But I've shared with Dr.
What are
Triplett
some of those things?
some of the things
I
were
can tell you a few.
uh,
I've seen some pictures.
I
I
think
have a
the
ninth
most
grader.
ridiculous is some of the young ladies are even hiding them under their hair pieces.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, we've had them in water bottles, like the
Stanley Cup.
Stanley cups. We've had them in chip bags that have been resealed with paper and pencil shavings in them. Uh, uh,
Sandwiches.
we had them in bologna sandwiches. One young lady even had it in a Bible that she cut out some.
Oh,
Yeah, so they have been very innovative in trying to get these phones in. And I heard a principal say not long ago, if you worked that hard at your grades, we would be
Oh, yes.
everything that everybody reported on tonight would be through the roof.
it's all about
Because they are.
motivation.
I'm sorry.
It's all about motivation.
All about motivation, absolutely. But they've been very innovative in trying to get these phones.
And we
But it's
did,
getting better.
and then we
It's getting
did
much
hear,
better.
we
Yeah,
did hear our superintendent said someone hid theirs up in the, tire wheel or something like
In
that.
my tire wheel, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
you're no
But
Asked me
exception.
not to go outside
You
and drive. It was
exception.
raining outside.
But I think with the help of the building principals and the security
Mhm.
team, like Dr. Triplett said, it is getting better. The kids are getting the messages.
Mhm.
The parents are getting the message. So it is kind of dwelling off a little bit. So I'd like to knock on wood if I had some. So we're
this.
going to continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I honestly think with anything when it comes to change, a lot of times we don't want to accept change. It's difficult for us,
Absolutely.
because we're accustomed to doing things the way we want to do them.
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you say we can't do them,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
that's the challenge,
That is
because
the
you're
challenge.
saying, "Oh, this is something I can't do," and so we fight against it. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yes, ma'am.
All
I'm
right,
glad you
thank
did.
you.
Great. Thank you so much for this presentation. We know that is an ongoing part of our work. We are continuing to work with families and communities to make sure that our students are safe
Yes, sir.
and that they have what they need and they're prepared to perform well academically in the school, but safe at the same time. So thank you for that presentation.
And I'd like to add one thing with our strategics. Our response time is about 2.2 minutes. So we're really proud of that. That our teams are responding to incidents in about 2.2 minutes. So
That's great. But did we understand correctly that incidents are down across the district?
they are. As the school year has gone on and kids are kind of adhering to the rules and regulations and getting acclimated to the principles, they are kind of diving off a little bit.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
At this time, we're going to move to item 7, which is items for discussion and action. The first item is item 7.01, board docs mitigation. It's going to be migration to diligent community. That is an upgrade for us. And Ms. Rigsby is going to share that information with us.
Yes, sir. Good evening again, board. Any questions? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. This evening, I've been tasked with discussing the migration with from board docs to diligent. It's basically an upgrade as you all know, many of our board members have gone to the MSBA conference and got word that board docs will soon be no more. Um, but the advantage that we have is we've been with board docs for a little over 10 years. So it'll just be an upgrade and we won't have to go into another um, vendor. But as you can see here, here's our committee consisted of myself, Mr. Vet Clemens, who is the former board secretary. Dan Redden is our IT representative. And then we had guiding support from President Hodge, Dr. Triplett, and Director Chris Trahan. As I mentioned earlier, soon board docs will be no more. So what the committee wanted to do was get a jump start on being proactive instead of being reactive before board docs die out. Why the upgrade? As you can see, Diligent Community is designated to enhance transparency, increase the use of district websites, improving timeliness and communication, facilitating quality decisions, and helping build trust within the community. Better features compared to board docs. One thing the committee was excited about was it's mobile friendly, and we didn't have that with board docs. It's mobile friendly. We got auto save with one click print, customized approval workflows. I know our cabinet members and our superintendent will appreciate that. I'm sure Humphrey will appreciate the documented library with private and public folders, PDF packets with advanced notation tools. The meeting notation notifications, requests to speak will be much better. We won't have to print out cards and things. We'll be able to go right into Diligent Community and our board members to get that notification instead of us printing out those cards. One thing Dan is excited about is the live streaming broadcast alongside with the agenda. So we may be able to not have all this paper printed, but maybe as a backup with stamped minutes and live closed captioning. We're excited. As I mentioned, board docs will soon be no more. Diligent recently initiated the migration process, working carefully with plan cohorts based on several things, including how the solution how enrollment size, the geographic location to ensure a smooth and seamless experience. Our scheduled renewal with Board Docs was in January. However, it does not interfere with the migration because it's the same company. So what our hopes is that we don't lose any information. They're saying that we won't, but things happen. However, they've been diligent in helping us through this process. The committee's goal is to transition from Board Docs to Diligent for the new school year. That's our goal. Here you'll see the new features here mentioned again. One thing I wanted to pull out from this particular slide was the school districts that's already with Diligent. As you can see, you'll see Clayton, Westville, Wentzville. One district that's not on here that we've been working closely with as a committee is Riverview Garden School District. They're already in the process of implementing Diligent, that they've dropped Board Docs. Shay Fields has been instrumental in working with me and the committee and showing us how this process go, and she'll continue to work with us along the way. Again, this feature here shows our annual fee, which Board Docs was like approximately $12,000. So we're going up a few thousand with the upgrade. We're excited about the upgrade because it's kind of like going from an iPhone 10 to the iPhone 15 or from a typewriter to a computer. So we got to kind of come out the dinosaur age, and I'm kind of encouraging myself with that. Got to come out of Board Docs and get ready to go into Diligent Community. You'll see our features here again: agenda management, transparency portal, live stream video manager. And again, Dan is very excited about that because we won't have to do a lot of these things that we're doing now. Our training plan, our plan is to get on you all's schedule maybe in April for your work session, maybe about 15, 20 minutes to get you acclimated and get going in the system to kind of play around in it and get to know it. Then we'll go to our cabinet leaders and introduce it in one of the meetings in April, which our cabinet members are aware, our senior leaders are aware as well of the migration. We're planning on doing those things in April, and then we'll get to our school leaders in May. To wrap up, the committee will continue to work with Diligent through the 3-month transition process, along with viewing the hubs and the training modules that they offer. And then even after the 3-month transition process, they'll still be accessible to us. And we will also continue to work closely with our Riverview Garden mentor for guidance, feedback, and during this migration process. Any questions?
Great. Thank you, Ms. Rigsby. This is a wonderful presentation. We know that you've been working on the details of this migration over the past, I know, more than 5-6 months now. So what questions do we have?
We have a question. I just want to say thank you for I was nervous about it, and she talked to me about it at MSBA and said, I got this. And so I'm just real, this is very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other questions?
Thank you for your presentation. I just have one question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that your hope is that we don't lose any data. I'm just wondering, because we have an IT person on the committee, is there a way to ensure that we perhaps back up data prior to the transition, and then that would ensure that we would not lose any data and information?
Well, when I said that, Diligent uh, assured us that we wouldn't lose any information. They assured us that we wouldn't. And again, Dr. Petty, this is just a migration, so we're not moving anywhere. So our information will still be housed with Board Docs, with Diligence. So they have the backup system in place. However, things happen. That's why I was saying, and
Thank you.
I'm hoping we don't lose nothing. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Just to so that everyone is clear, this is a tool for the entire community, not just this board. So the entire staff of the district uses it to inform the board, but the board also uses it to inform the community. And so this is how our community understands what is on our board agenda, what our policies are, and all of the information that's held for the community to engage with. So there is a request that you have for the board?
Yes, sir. We are requesting that the board accepts our presentation as presented with the slight increase that comes along with the upgrade.
Yes, so this is continuing. This is really for boards and from the board's information, but it is an upgrade in the cost of it, and it's a significant improvement of how we communicate. So Ms. Rigsby did want to present this to the board. The motion, I will entertain a motion to approve this expense as it has been presented.
Second.
So you're doing double duty, right? So hopefully you can get these
I was hoping Secretary Taylor would
secretary.
take notes in my stead.
The first came from Ms. Milton Roberts. The second one was
Second.
okay. Great,
They were actually in accordance, but we're gonna just.
good. Are there any additional questions? If there are none, I will ask Secretary Taylor to do a roll call vote for this to approve.
Petty,
Yes.
Director Milton Roberts,
Yes.
Director Edwards,
Yes.
Vice President Humphrey,
Yes.
President Hodge,
Yes.
And Secretary Taylor.
yes.
Can I
Great.
do my
The
happy
yes have
dance
it.
now?
Great.
Can I do my happy dance?
Yes, you can. Congratulations and thank you for a wonderful presentation. The last item for discussion and action is item 7.02, social emotional learning curriculum, which we're really excited to hear about. Miss Passion Braggs.
Yes.
Haythorne, is that a new last name that you have?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Would your husband happen to be here with us tonight?
Yes, just to support me. He tired of Normandy School celebrities.
Oh, that's great. It's good to have you. I told him earlier he had a wonderful gift. Um, I think the Bible says something about when a man finds a
Wife.
Finds a good thing.
yeah, so he got a good thing, but he said I already know. So go ahead. It's
Thank
good
you
to
for
hear
the
from you
nice
again.
warm welcome. Again, good evening, everyone. President Hodge, Superintendent Triplett. I am here to present to you our SEL curriculum, Rethink Ed. What is Rethink Education? Rethink Ed is a social emotional learning program designed to help our students and educators and schools develop emotional intelligence and to build positive relationships. It provides a digital, research based curriculum and resources that support social emotional learning instruction across K 12. Rethink SEL comprehensive frameworks include 4 pillars: SEL, character education, 21st century skills, and mental health. The social emotional learning typically focuses on key competencies such as self awareness, self management, and social awareness, relationship building, and responsible decision making. The goal is to improve students' emotional well being and build positive relationships and a positive school climate and culture. How does Rethink align with our strategic plan goals? It aligns because it creates engaging environments, trauma informed, and inclusive social emotional learning practices. It also, for goal 2, college and career readiness, and we want to address the holistic child with student development academically and behaviorally. Also, it supports our educators and administrators in creating a consistent environment and also will provide us real-time data and reporting to assist district leadership with data-driven decisions. The cost is $39,750, which will come from our disproportionality grant fund, so it will not cost the district anything, any monies. Is there any questions?
We like that. So this is this is pretty innovative, and I don't know if many districts have adopted an SEL curriculum. We've never had one before. I've heard discussions happening at the state level about creating this as a part of our standards. We all know we need it, but we haven't made time for it. Do you have a little bit of background on that?
Yes, Rethink Ed. Actually, one of our partner districts is using, and they rave about it. As we vetted the program, St. Louis Public uses it, and they have said their climate and culture data is trending in the correct direction. And as you see, our academic data is trending. So once we get this in place, we'll be marching to success.
Great.
We have a laser focus.
Questions, Ms. Milton Roberts?
Yeah. Is there a parent education piece that goes along with this?
Yes, it will be. And just like with the iReady, they will be able to log in. Students will have the access to be able to do exercises with their parents. It just has a myriad of things that it does cover. So we're pleased, and our committee was pleased to find this tool.
I like that part.
Mr. Humphrey?
Yeah, you mentioned the cost, the 39,000 is being covered for. Is that a one time, or is it?
We would have to renew it every year, but it will come out of our disproportionality fund with our partner district, special school district that pays for it.
Ms.
I
Taylor?
don't have a question. I just have a comment. And thank you for the presentation. I'm just so excited that the Normandy School Collaborative is actually taking on a lot of the different programs and things that they have that are helping our children, because we know even in 2025, we know a lot of our children deal with emotional issues, and those things they bring them to school. And so the programs and the things that we're implementing and that we're, using here in the Normandy, I believe, like you said, you just said something. What did you say we're marching on?
We're marching to the road of
We
success.
say it again.
We're marching to the road of success, and our leadership
Well, we are
is holding
marching.
us accountable and really wanting us to address student needs.
Yes, we are.
And we are student focused. One thing that I did like about Rethink that really sold me was the mental health aspect.
Yeah.
It addresses suicide, depression, anxiety, all of those things that our children are unfortunately dealing with at this time. And recent data shows that 1 in 6 children has been exposed to trauma. And that's unfortunately the clientele that we're serving these days. And we need this program to combat the grim statistics.
Right, and that's why I was just listening. I just thought about it. I'm gonna end with this. I was listening to Dr. Sutton when she was talking about even the different programs that they're implementing here, for the middle school, because these are the things that our children need, and so we have to pay attention to those signs, because there are a lot of warning signs out there, and so these will help us to pay attention to them. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Ms. Milton Roberts?
I just had a quick question. So when I look at the part under character education, when you talk about honesty, respect, and so forth, I love all of that. So my question then becomes, does this then become also part of the core of how we are handling infractions in our school and discipline in our school?
This will be our universal, this will be our preventative and our proactive. Yes.
Thank you.
And we would.
We got to memorize this. That's good.
Great. Additional questions? You have a request of the board?
Yes, I would like to request that we go ahead and vote to implement Rethink Ed as our social emotional learning curriculum.
So moved.
So we'll entertain a motion to approve the. There- All right. Did you get? Yeah. So we do need the.
I'm sorry, I need the first and second.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Process here. Are there any additional questions? If there are no additional questions, we do need to have a roll call vote for this. Ms. Rigsby.
The roll call vote on the floor is to accept. I'm sorry, I have to go back to my notes.
Hmm.
Is to accept the social emotional learning curriculum presented by Ms. Passion, President Hodge,
Yes.
Vice President Humphrey,
Yes.
Secretary Taylor,
Yes.
Director Edwards, Director Milton Roberts, and Director Dr. Petty.
Thank you, Ms. Rigsby. Yes.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Okay, so moving on to items for consent. Item 8.01 through item 8.06 have all been provided to the board for review prior to this meeting. We did move item 8.03 to next month's agenda. With that being said, I'm going to move us to item 9, which is the approval of the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly seconded. Um, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, you have the same privilege. Abstentions? The ayes have it. The consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to item 10, Joint Executive Governing Board. Item 10.01, Board Announcements and Comments. We'll start with Dr. Petty.
Thank you for that, President Hodge. Good evening, everyone. Just want to thank everybody for all of the presentations, and again, wish you the best of luck in your endeavors as you move forward with this work that we do on behalf of children. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Petty. Director Milton Roberts.
I just really want to say thank you for all the really, really strong and great presentations that we had today. And I really also want to say you made my day with looking at the numbers going, in the right directions and so forth, and the kinds of programs and stuff that we're doing. I think that's very positive. But I think the thing that really stood out for me was the actual um, I guess, the passion, if you will, that I heard from the people that were doing the presentations, that they really believed in what they were doing. I just kind of was looking over at Director Edwards, and I said, I just have a real high level of trust in, in the presentation, for instance, that just happened with social emotional learning. I felt really, really good about it. Really, really good about a lot of these presentations. And so I just want to thank you for that, because that tells me that you guys are really leaning in and doing the work for our kids. And so that's really important to me.
I have no comment.
I'm sorry, Miss Edwards. As a matter, let me put a pause on that for just a second. We did get that question. If we could have our representative from Cigna to come forward. There was the question from Teresa Pearson was regarding the matching of the previous plan coverage and the cost associated with it. Can you give us some insight about matching benefits and assurance about costs?
Yeah, so we initially matched to our best of our abilities. I believe there was significant savings with it. And then we found some things that didn't quite match up, and we absorbed the cost of that because we wanted you all to be happy with your benefits. My father was a St. Louis Public Schools employee. My grandfather was as well, so I know how important benefits are to you also.
Well, you're saying all the right stuff.
I'm
Well,
glad you guys picked me out of the audience because I was back there imagining all the things I would do to get my phone into school.
right, that's great. Are there any questions related to this?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate you staying and addressing that question. Ms. Edwards, no comment? Ms. Taylor?
I would just like to say thank you all once again for a wonderful turnout, and for those that are watching us via the internet. And I just want to say I am so thankful that we are moving in the right direction. We had a board retreat on last week, 8 hours of 8 hours, 8 hours, and we discuss so many things, but I think for this board, we are working collaboratively, and we have nothing but the best in mind for our students. So to the staff, keep doing what you're doing. To each of you, whatever your position is, keep doing what you're doing. And the board, we're working to do the best that we can because we want nothing but the best for our students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Humphrey.
Well, once again, thank you for the presentations that were made tonight. It's always good when you see the data and the data is moving in the direction that you want it to move in. And I often say the more we understand our data, the better we can craft the direction that we're going to go in. Like Director Taylor, we did have, the retreat, and um, I know coming forward, we're going to have some areas that we're going to be focusing on around strategic plan and some other initiatives that will help with focus around the district. The other thing I would say, I had the opportunity the Martin Luther King weekend to attend the first annual uh, Martin Luther King tournament that was sponsored by the Boys and Girls Club at Matthew Dickey, and Normandy High School competed against Rittner. All of the competition, there were 6 teams in the tournament. All of the tournament competition was very, very good. Normandy, uh, they competed, but they at the end they fell short by 10 points. And I know that the next time that uh, they face Rittner is going to be an even stronger contest. But I was very very impressed by the. First of all, I was impressed by the character of the young men that I saw playing, and then secondly, I was impressed by the skill that they showed. And I think over time, they're only going to get better and better. Uh, and so, with that, once again, thank you for the presentations tonight. And we look forward to the work that we're going to do to move the district where it needs to be. Because I always say, when I look at Normandy, I believe that we have to compete against every other school district that you consider a school district. We are a great school district. We're coming. And so when I think about education, when I think about schools like MICDS, when I think about Clayton, when I think about Ladue, our children have to be able to compete against all of those schools for scholarship dollars. And I want our students to have the best opportunity to compete for those dollars. And I think as we collectively, move the needle, we're going to get there. Thank you.
Thank you. For the sake of time, I just want to echo that the Missouri School Board Association, who is a partner to our work, has been tremendously helpful to us. And so I would like to say thank you to Lisa Nieder, Nieder, Phyllis Barks, and Joy Lynn Pruitt Adams for spending those 8 hours with us late at night to help us understand our roles better, how we can work better, how we can serve you all better. And it is our intention to grow and to continue to serve our children along with you to help us get where we need to be. So thank you so much for your time and your work, and thank you to my fellow board members. Superintendent.
Thank you, everyone. So I live by a whole lot of mantras, right? And so there's just 2 mantras I want to mention tonight. One, teamwork takes work. And the other is teaching is the only profession that creates all other professions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I believe that we have reached item 12, which is I will call for a move to adjourn to executive session. It's been moved and properly seconded. We do need a roll call vote to move into executive session. So, Ms. Rigsby, would you do us the honor?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Doc. Director Dr. Petty,
Yes.
Director Milton Roberts, Director Edwards,
Yes.
Secretary Taylor,
Yes.
Vice President Humphrey,
Yes.
and President Hodge.
Thank you. Yes, it is 8:27. Thank you all for your attendance here tonight. Please stay warm and safe.